Welcome to Global English Tales. We're so happy you're here. If you want to improve your English by listening to interesting stories, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fun content. Stay with us until the end, where we'll talk about important words from the story to help you learn more. Let's begin. A struggle for survival. Flight 417 was flying high in the sky. The weather was calm, and the passengers were sitting quietly. Sarah was on her way to a business meeting. She was a quiet woman who liked to keep herself. James, a businessman, was sitting next to her. He had been traveling for a long time and seemed tired. Suddenly, the plane shook. It was a strange feeling. The lights in the plane flickered, and the passengers started to scream. The plane began to fall, and Sarah felt scared. Everything around her seemed to move too fast. The plane twisted and turned. People were shouting, and some were crying. Sarah held on tight, hoping it would stop. But then, everything went black. When Sarah woke up, she found herself lying on the soft sand of a beach. The sun was shining, but there was no sign of the plane. The wreckage was scattered everywhere, and the ocean waves crashed softly on the shore. Sarah looked around and saw that she wasn't alone. Other people had survived too. She saw James, the businessman, and Claire, an older woman who had been sitting near her. There were a few other survivors too, but no one knew what to do next. The group was confused and scared. They had no idea where they were, and there was no sign of help. The island seemed to be empty and uncharted, with no way to contact anyone. They started to look for food. James and Sarah tried to find fruit in the jungle, while Claire helped the others build a shelter. After a long search, they found some food, but it was not enough to last for long. They knew they had to find more, or they would run out of supplies quickly. As the days passed, the survivors became more worried. They were not sure if anyone knew they were there. Sarah could feel that something was wrong with the island. There was a strange feeling in the air, something she couldn't explain. It was as if the island itself was watching them. James seemed more anxious than anyone else. He kept looking over his shoulder, as if something was following him. At night, the group would sit around a fire to stay warm. But Claire told them that she heard strange sounds in the jungle. Sometimes it sounded like whispers, and other times it sounded like footsteps. The noises were too loud to ignore, but no one knew what caused them. One evening, as they sat around the fire, Sarah looked into the dark jungle. She saw something move. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't a person. It was just a shadow, moving slowly. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. She quickly told the others, but they didn't believe her. James said it was probably just an animal, and Claire tried to calm everyone down. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was not right. The next day, the group decided to explore the island to find a way out. They found a strange building deep in the jungle. It was old and broken down, covered with vines. The windows were broken, and the door creaked when they opened it. Inside, they found old papers and strange equipment. Some of the papers were in another language, but there were some words they could understand. They talked about experiments. The people who had lived on the island had tried to control fear. They wanted to make people afraid, to study how fear could change them. But there were no people left on the island, only the papers and the equipment. Suddenly, the group heard something again. It was the whispers. This time, they came from inside the building. Sarah felt her heart race. They had to leave. They didn't know what was on the island, but it was clear that something dangerous was here. As night fell, the shadows grew longer. The whispers became louder. The survivors sat close to the fire, hoping to stay safe. But the shadows outside seemed to be getting closer. It felt like the island itself was coming alive, and something was hunting them. The group didn't know how much longer they could stay. They needed to find a way off the island before it was too late. But Sarah had a feeling that the island was hiding a much darker secret. Whatever was on this island, it had been here for a long time, and it wasn't going to let them leave. In the end, Sarah and the other survivors discovered the island's dark secret. They realized that the shadows they had feared were not just whispers, they were the island's past, coming back to haunt them. By working together and staying strong, they were finally able to escape, but they would never forget the mysterious force that had tried to keep them trapped. Vocabulary Practice Section. Let's learn some important words from the story. 1. Turbulence, when the plane shakes in the air. Example, the plane had turbulence and shook a lot. 2. Wreckage, the broken pieces of something after it is destroyed. Example, the plane wreckage was scattered all over the beach. 3. Uncharted, a place that no one has mapped or discovered. Example, the island was uncharted, so no one knew where it was. 4. Anxious, feeling worried or nervous. Example, James was anxious because he kept looking around. 5. Whisper, to speak very quietly. Example, Claire whispered that she heard strange sounds at night. 6. Entity, a strange being, often from a story or myth. Example, the island had an entity, a dark force watching the survivors. Now, try using these words in your own sentences to practice. What story would you like to hear in our next video? Share your ideas in the comments, and we might make your idea come true. Thank you for watching today's story. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe to help us grow. We really appreciate your support. See you in the next video.